No joke.
Okay.
I just growed a beard. In real life. No joke. I growed a beard.
Hey guys, it's Reese here again.
I like all those turtles from our pond. I wasn't going to cry.
And I am toy hunting.
And welcome to my channel.
Plant marigolds next to your squash to keep the squash bugs away.
Here at the Ozark YouTube scrap. Hi.
Hi.
Emma. I want to welcome everybody to Growing Up with Another Time with Milk and Honey Heritage Farms tonight. We have Heather. I'm so excited. And I want to welcome everybody in. Let me just go through the chat real quick here and see who's all here. Welcome, Jan. Thank you for all of your help in helpful comments. And Jamie's here from Jamie's Country Living. Thank you. And then we have Langley's Build a Homestead. Thank you for coming in. We really appreciate it. I'm Linda, by the way, and that's Heather.
Hi.
We have Garden State So-and-so. Thank you, Robin, for coming. And Northern Girl Hobbies. Thank you for coming in. Kathleen, my Alabama Life. Angie, our Cabin in the Woods. Thank you. And yeah, just exciting to have you all here. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, Chastity, thank you for coming. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And it really does help to get it out there. And also make sure that if you're on my channel, be sure to go over to Heather's channel, Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and show her some love. And we're just excited to have her here. I'm going to let her start off by telling a little bit about herself and her channel.
Okay. Let's see. I moved around a lot growing up, and I was an only child. And so I was pretty much a city kid, and I did not have any grandparents who did preserving of foods or farming or any, like my great grandparents all did, but my grandparents, well, I only knew my grandma, did not. And so all the neighborhoods that we lived in, nobody did any of that stuff. So I never like really knew, like I saw like preserving stuff like on Little House on the Prairie, but I thought it was like way back then type thing. Until I was
you didn't know they did it today.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
Adrian.
Yeah, so I was born in Alaska, and we moved a lot. My mom and dad and me. So yeah, between Alaska, Oregon, Washington, Minnesota, Arizona.
You sound like me. That's how I do it too.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and my
how did you how did your channel come about, and what is your channel about? Hi, Troy. How are you doing?
so
It's Arthur Butler. Welcome in.
hello, welcome in. So how I started my channel is I procrastinated for several years because I don't know. So I was the person who always took the pictures and stuff. Like
Yeah.
don't take pictures of me, no.
That's how I was too.
Like, yeah. And so like I can talk to anybody. I'm not shy about talking to people, randomly in real life.
Mhm.
So I procrastinated and stuff like that. And my husband and I had this dream about getting a farm and going back to our roots of like how our grandparents lived and stuff like that.
How exciting.
So yeah, so that's what we've been working on. We worked on it before we moved to the property. We rented away from our house 5 acres where we had horses. So
Wow.
and, we did a little bit of gardening and orchard stuff like that, different things before we got the property. And so
Wow.
here I am.
So how old is your channel now?
In April, it will be 2 years old.
2 years old. Awesome.
It's a baby.
Well, I love your channel, and I love all the things that you do on it. So welcome in, Karen Watt Live. Welcome in. Thank you. Let's go ahead and talk about what your experiences were like in your first 10 years of childhood.
Oh, wow.
What did you like to do? What was your fun things that you like to remember doing?
Oh, yeah. I liked growing up in Alaska. I think that was my best time in my childhood. And reason being is because we used to run on the tundra, literally. And I had to travel miles and miles through the snow to get to school. And at my school, we had an outside ice skating rink.
Mm-hmm.
And you could skate whenever you wanted.
Well, how awesome.
So I would go early to school and ice skate until it was time to go to school. And then they would let us do it at lunchtime. And then after school, I'd ice skate. So I did a lot of ice skating.
Wow.
And so great memories. Like the kids used to build snowballs. Like when we'd get bigger, it always snowed. But when we'd get bigger snows, the snowballs were huge, like huge. Like you couldn't move it. Like, and you'd see these big, huge snowballs everywhere, all over the playground, like ginormous. It'd take 10 kids just to keep pushing this big snowball to get it big. So that was fun. In school, we had to learn how to cross country ski. We also had to, like for gym class, we had to do cross country skiing, which takes a lot of work. It's a lot of muscle dragging your feet.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I had to do moose calling.
Moose calling?
Mm-hmm. So we had to go out.
Can you do a moose call for us?
I don't know if I can do it right. If I'm going to do it wrong. So don't copy me. It's kind of like sound.
Wow. Impressive.
So we had to climb up a wooden
Everyone give her a thumbs up, okay?
Yeah. So we had to climb up a big wooden tower and do that. But yeah, big giant snowballs. Yeah.
Fun. That was her gym. Yes.
And then we always put, so our newspapers, when they came, well, back when they had big, huge newspapers,
Yeah.
they would wrap a plastic sleeve over it, kind of like a bread sack. And we would put those on, you know, our socks on, and then we put those on, and then we'd put our boots on, which we called moon boots,
Yeah.
to keep our feet warm. And then your snow pant and all the stuff. And then you had the gloves, and your arms are like stuck out like here, and you can't move.
They said they won't quote you on the moose call, Heather. Northern
Just
Girl
saying,
Hobbies.
I'm not a professional. That was a long, long time ago. You're yours.
So how was, yeah, we used spread bags too in our boots, and we had moon boots, but our moon boots were probably a lot older school than your moon boots were.
That was back like in the 80s. And then when you're in high school, you wear flip-flops and shorts.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What
Yeah.
was did you go a lot fishing a lot, or did you?
Oh, I lived in a whale, and just kidding. I'm kidding. I lived in a regular neighborhood. Actually, so
Hi, Ann. How are you?
hi, Ann. There was a few times where we moved like back to Oregon, in between going back
Yeah.
to Alaska, and I would be like the new student in the class, and
Yeah.
everybody would ask me if like I lived in a whale, and no.
How did you deal with the sunshine issue?
You have dark curtains, but it depends what part of
With a lack of sunshine issues. I mean, that'd be worse for me.
So in Anchorage, it would get dark at 3 a.m.
Wow.
in the summer.
Wow.
And then in the winter time, like by 5 o'clock, it's dark. And then it didn't get like fully light until like 9:30, 10 a.m. So
Wow.
you just kind of adapt, right? I
Yeah.
guess. So,
And it's probably easier if you're a child too than,
and you don't know anything different, right?
yeah, exactly.
Now I'd have to be like putting tin foil and everything all over the windows so there's no light. Yeah.
Yeah. Northern Girl Hobbies was saying it's like that there in Ontario. You know, yeah, I would have a difficult time adapting. I'd have to have the red light thing over me all the time, you know, without the sunlight.
So Jan wanted to know if we wore special clothing. We just, wore snow pants, moon boots, which were snow boots, and then your snow bibs, like,
Yeah.
so, kind
Yeah.
of like now, like a scarf, and then, a lot of times moms would put that yarn to attach your mittens or gloves.
Yeah.
Your hat, your scarf type thing. I did at one time have these Cabbage Patch head. It was a head of a Cabbage Patch
Yeah.
earmuffs. I liked them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Mhm.
But did you do a lot of other activities, like did you go camping? Did you go
Yeah.
fishing?
In the summertime, every summer, me and my dad would go camping at this lake called Nancy Lake. And so we would drive out like early Friday mornings, and we'd stay the whole weekend and go camping at this lake. And a lot of families were the same families that would come.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a lot of fishing and stuff like that. I've actually caught fish by my hands.
Wow.
By flipping up on the boat. Also, I went on a flying fishing trip where you're in that, I forget what the plane is called, that lands on the water plane.
Oh, the pontoon?
Yeah. So
The
I did
pontoon.
that, and I caught the first fish. It was like so somebody was supposed to go with my mom, and they couldn't make it, so she took me. And I was probably like 9 years old. And so we flew in this plane, and, we had our hip waiter boots that like all the way up.
Yeah.
walked to wherever it was that they were all fishing, and it was all men, like old,
Yeah.
like hunting, Grizzly Adams kind of men, And I caught the first fish with a fishing pole, so that was like
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome.
So I used to run when we went to the lake in the summers. I used to run on the docks at the lake a lot and play on the docks. And I would find people's leftover fishing line,
Oh, yeah.
like a hook. One time I tied a stick to one end of this fishing line, and it had the little hook, and they had like some onion laying on the ground because they had left. And so I put an onion on there, and I threw my line out, and I pulled it back in, and I got a clam.
Clams like the onions, huh?
Yeah, we did see a lot of northern lights.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. They're actually really pretty.
What do you miss most about that time period of your life?
I feel like, and it might just be, the years,
Yeah.
back when, in the 80s and stuff like that, when it was, or it just could be. So a lot of families were there because they were working on the pipeline or something like that, or
Yeah.
military. Excuse me. And so there was a lot of multicultural diversity of everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But our friend groups were multicultural, and we were all just happy-go-lucky. And then when I came to Oregon, it was not that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we like our groups. We all, like, I had one friend that was from Japan, and her mom would do plays every now and then at the school where she would dress up in all her like kimono and stuff like that and do like, traditional dance. So that was neat. I don't know. It was like a pretty neat community, I think. Did
you live in a small town or a bigger town?
I lived in Anchorage, so it's one of the bigger. Yeah. And then the Alaskan Iditarod, the dog sled.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing.
I was going to ask you if you got to see that.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it true when people, I've seen a lot of the shows. My stepfather used to go up and work up there all the time. He was a construction worker, and he'd go up and build and stuff. But he'd say when you had they couldn't have funerals during the winter time on a lot of the winters. Is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, because of the ground frozen all the time.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But so they would have like these big hot air balloon festivals, and there'd be hundreds of hot air balloons, and they all had like different designs on them. They were all like different. And then they would have like ice sculptures, and people would like have these amazing ice sculptures of anything you can imagine.
Wow.
So that's something really cool, So yeah.
It does sound like a great place to grow up, Anne.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Did you ever experience any earthquakes?
Just remember. I did live by a park named Earthquake Park. That was close by. Me and one of my best friends, we used to hike there, which was several miles from where we lived. And we'd go down there, and you had to be careful because there was like quicksand. But we would look for like big shells and things like that. But you could still, this is like early to mid 80s, you could still see a lot of the foundations from a big earthquake that they had. Like,
wow.
Yeah, like huge foundations just still there. Like, bent in the ground and stuff like that. So, yeah. And being on a hot air balloon is pretty cool too. Yeah, definitely. If you go to Alaska, to be able to see, like the different cultures and things like that,
If you could take part of that time period with you to Oregon, what would it be?
I would say the community.
The community.
And like I said, I don't know if it was that time period versus this time period where people were more just your people,
Yeah.
Everybody got along. I mean, sure, there was a few tiffs here and there, like normal, you took my extra hot dog or whatever, type thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of your most pleasurable or memorable times that you had with your parents growing up?
Let's see. When I was in 3rd grade, we went to Disneyland. And my dad was on a business trip, and so they put him up in a hotel. And so he had to go to some kind of a business dinner with my mom and the business people. And so they hired a nanny to come to the hotel to watch me.
Wow.
And the nanny brought a bag of stuff, and she brought things for like toddler. So she was unprepared, and I asked before my parents left if I could go to the pool. And they said, well, yeah, she can, but she doesn't know how to swim. Don't let her go in the deep end. So the lady sat on a chair outside the pool and just read a book or something, didn't pay no attention. Well, guess who swam across the whole thing? Well, I taught myself how to swim when I was 5. When we were living in Minnesota, and I snuck over to some apartments that had a swimming pool. And there was a bunch of little kids that I knew or something, over there. And I taught myself how to swim. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I went swimming. That lady didn't even have any idea. So, yeah, we went to do that. We went to Disneyland. I remember it was pretty cool. We went on a tour in California, and we got to see like Lucy's house and people's houses, and like one of them had like a I don't know, housekeeper or something come out with like the little housekeeper like outfit on, with the dress with the apron thing. And so it was like exciting,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what other trips did you take? Did you take other trips in Alaska?
No.
No,
not really.
You just stayed in Anchorage pretty much, or
Yeah.
Did you guys take field trips in school?
No, not really. I don't think so. Not there. I don't remember field trips. We may have. I don't remember.
Yeah.
We did a lot of plays.
My field trips either. Huh?
Yeah, we did a lot of plays in school. Like we did, like when I was in elementary school, we did the Nutcracker ballet. And I was fairy godmother. So I got to bash the kids on the head. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, so there was a lot of that stuff. I did some boys and girls schooling after school. So when I was growing up, I was a latchkey kid, which I, primarily raised myself most of my growing up. But because my parents were busy, my dad had his own tire company. And when we moved all the time, it was for him to do startups of tire businesses for other people. Like, I think one year we lived in Nebraska, you know, so sometimes it was like every 6 months or every year that we'd move.
So how many states did you live in growing up?
So we lived in Alaska, Washington State, Oregon, Minnesota, North Dakota, Nebraska. Did I say Minnesota?
Yeah.
Arizona.
I don't know. Minnesota.
6 or 7 states.
Wow.
And from kindergarten to graduation of high school, I went to 13 different schools.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of the same kind of childhood I had. I lived in California. I was born in California, and I grew up my childhood years in Oregon, Idaho, Washington, Utah, you know,
So like the whole Pacific Northwest kind of.
yeah, the Pacific Northwest. And
you know,
my dad was from Oklahoma, and they left Oklahoma during the Dust Bowl and ended up following the fruit through California on up. And then, yeah,
I hate moving around. So
yeah, I did too.
We've been in on our farm for 11 years. I don't plan to ever move again. And then our house before, we were there for 12 years. Like, I don't like moving.
I bet. How did it make you feel when you were a child, when you had to move all the time?
Like, I always had to start out at new schools with people I had no idea who they were. But I think in a way it may have been good because it helped me be able to build character and know how to relate, because I wasn't shy either. Yeah. So that helped. And I wasn't the obnoxious kid either. Mm-hmm. But I think it helped me to be able to, I don't know, like diversify between different types of people, kids.
Yeah. You know? I think it does. Let's pause a minute here and check out the chats. And if you have something you want to ask Heather about her growing up experience, please type it in the chat and I'll put it up there for her. I want to make sure we haven't missed anybody. Alicia, I want to say hi and welcome in if I didn't. Stephen, hi and welcome in.
Yeah. I'm reading Anne's comment.
Anne, hi and welcome in. I don't know if I caught you. I mean, I saw you, but I don't know if I said anything. I want to make sure I say welcome to you. And we'll go ahead and put that up there. Says, I graduated with kids. I went to kindergarten with, wow. I can't even imagine graduating with kids and that I went to kindergarten with.
Like, I used to always be envious of those that had like these like forever friendships with all these people, you know, but now like I explained, I think that it helped build my character, and you know, I can fit in and get along with any types of peoples. So
Stephen wants to know who the guest star is tonight. This is Heather. She is from Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. If you haven't checked out her channel, please go over and check out her channel and give her a thumbs up and subscribe. You won't be, you'll be happy if you do.
Oh, thank you.
Angie wants to know, what part of Minnesota did you live in?
Minnetonka was part of the area. There was a couple areas that, so my mom's family came from there. And so there was like Waconia and stuff like that, where like, you know, they had like family home and stuff like that. Hi, Paula. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so I don't really remember it too well. I was there when I was 5, and I just remember just a little bit, not a whole lot. So, but I think some people have said that they hear a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, Minnesotan accent, like y'all, like ooh, stuff like that. Then my husband's family, part of his family is also from like North Dakota, Minnesota area. So it's interesting.
I didn't stay in touch with any of them, though, my friends. Yeah. I hit the wrong thing. Anyway, we welcome you in, P&J's, Paula.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I think as a teenager, when we went, we lived in Alaska for a very short time. I worked at J. Jacobs, and I was so angry with my parents. I was 16.
Tell everybody what J. Jacobs is, because some people may not know.
Yeah. So J. Jacobs used to be a men and women's clothing store. They had like, you know, pants, shirts, dresses for men and women, and coats and stuff like that. And so for sales, if you made so much sales by the end of 2 months, you would get like bonuses to shop in the store on top of your paycheck. So I got a lot of clothes. I learned how to drive in Alaska. And then I had a lot of
snow or on dry ground?
Snow. Yeah, my first go around was in an Oldsmobile. And I hugged the curb a little bit too tight. And they have snow plows that push the snow, you know, out to the sides. Well, I kind of hugged the curb. The snow was a little, I kind of put a little dent. But luckily, the friends of ours that we were staying with had been our friends since before I was born. He was a car mechanic. So he was able to get the little dent out really easily. And then I had an instructor, an actual teacher instructor that they knew, these friends that we lived with. And he took me to the mall.
Oh, wow.
And he made me drive down the parking garage.
Yeah.
In an
I was thinking that one.
Automobile.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did it. I didn't hit anything. So, but with my friends, it was fun. We would go to like small mountains and hills at night, not like at the ski lodge, and we would sled in the dark.
As a teenager.
As a teenager, we didn't have any, you know, lights or helmets or.
Yeah. I know those times.
Yeah. And then you'll hear the dogs bark a little bit.
That's okay.
We did some ice fishing. A lot of it was like adventures.
And that's what makes childhood so fun. You know, when you think about growing up in another time, it's those adventures that stay with you forever. You know, I mean, they really do.
Yep. So, yeah. And then a lot of times we would, like, all the high schools had indoor swimming pools. Well, you know, because it's Alaska. And so
just the fact that they have a swimming pool, you know.
Yeah, so they would have like swim things on Fridays or Saturdays. So we'd either go roller skating or swimming, you know, during the winter time. So yeah.
That's awesome. So did they must have had a lot of activities then for the kids at the school?
Oh yeah, they had, you know, the normal stuff that all the kids do.
Wow.
You know, soccer and track. I played soccer a lot, you know.
Did they teach you, they taught you how to cross-country ski? When I lived in Oregon, they did that as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I lived in Madras, Oregon for 3 years growing up. and it's down by Bend, Oregon.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have a girlfriend that lives in Washington, about 8 hours away. She's closer to the Canadian border, and her kids' school does all these free like ski lessons and like all kinds of that stuff.
Wow.
So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah.
So what would you say your favorite memories are or were of your teenage years? Of your teenage years?
That's hard. So I started babysitting when I was 8 at the lake. People would pay me to watch their toddlers. I don't know why at a lake.
And you're 8?
Yeah. Yeah. So
watching toddlers at the lake.
yeah, so I started doing that a lot when I was younger. And then when I was 12, we were here in Oregon at the coast, and my dad had a restaurant at one beach, and then about an hour away, his friend had a restaurant. So when I was 14, I lived in Oregon, and 12 to 14, and I would work at both the jobs certain days of the week, and babysit on the other days, and go to school.
Yeah.
So
I think, you think that was more normal back in your day? Or do you think it was just you? I mean, do you think?
Well, I think a lot of kids, well, at least a lot of the kids that I knew in Alaska were a lot more older than they were. Like, so they would get jobs doing like driving earlier and doing things earlier than some different states.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then when I was 15, we lived in Washington. I worked at a retirement home for a year.
Where'd you go in Washington?
Hazeldale.
Hazelville, and that's near.
That is near Vancouver.
Hmm.
And then Kent, Washington, we lived there at one point.
I lived in Kent, Washington.
Did you really? I wonder if it was the same year. I don't even know what year that was. It's kind of
I lived in Kent, Washington.
track of where was I at. You know, so some of my memories aren't so good.
Yeah.
And so that's why my geography and stuff like here in Oregon is a little bit off.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting turned around in the different states that you're in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Did you like Washington?
I guess. It seemed more rainy. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a depressing place. And on the coast, it's beautiful.
I wasn't really there very long, so.
Yeah. Does anyone else have a question that they'd like to ask Heather about growing up in Alaska or any other one of her places that she's lived? She's lived in a lot of places.
I don't remember Arizona because I was just a baby, like a toddler. I have a big, huge picture of me with these red bell-bottom pants. I'm only like 2 or 3 years old, and like a Sesame Street shirt and cactuses, you know.
So, who was your favorite band when you were growing up? What kind of music did you like?
Back when I was in elementary school, I listened to a lot of the 80s music, you know, like rock and roll type stuff.
Olivia Newton-John?
Yeah, like you know, like Cyndi Lauper and Michael Jackson, you know, all those. And then when I was a teenager, I went more country and a little bit of like pop rock or whatever you called it. So, yeah.
Okay, let's sum up in a paragraph or so. Tell all the viewers what kind of a teenager you would be, you were,
What
and
was?
huh?
I was pretty much kind of like I am now. I guess I got along with everybody.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really a classification of anything because I talked to everybody.
Yeah.
I worked all the time and went to school, and I tried to go to all the football games and the dances and stuff like that. So,
Did you have? Go ahead.
Anne wants to know about brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So, I have 2 half sisters. My oldest one, they're both older. The oldest one lived with us when I was 5 for about 6 months, and then she wanted to go back and live with her mom. Other than that, we didn't see each other very often, so I don't really know them.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Hmm.
So I was an only child.
So you didn't learn any homesteading skills until you were an adult, basically.
Yes.
And
Yep.
you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you tell everybody what you do a lot of on your channel?
A lot of everything.
She
So
got trees and dances and
I raised honeybees. I did a lot of studying and figuring out what I wanted for if or when we shall ever get our property. This is before. And so, and the internet wasn't like it is now. So it was more so like it was harder to try to find the research that you wanted. But I found Irish Dexter cows and how they're dual purpose, where you can milk them or you can do meat. And so that was the cow I wanted because they were smaller and more docile, like more of a husbandry type animal. We had horses when we first got the farm. So what else? Then we got pigs. I had this huge popping garden the first year that we were here. And I traded the neighbor lady for 2 sows, which are pigs, female pigs. And then we purchased a male pig that was like several hours away. So it wasn't the same. So we raised pigs for 3-4 years. So yeah. What else? So we don't have pigs now. I do have chickens. It took us 8 years before I got chickens. And so now I just got an incubator yesterday. So I have to figure out how that all works so I can hatch my own chicks.
How many chickens do you have?
Currently I have 14.
That's awesome.
And a rooster.
And how many cows do you have?
15? Yeah, 15. Counting the bull. And 5 of them are mamas.
Wow.
Like our stock. 5 mama cows and then the bull. Otis. Yeah.
And then on the others, do you take the others to auction, the babies when they're born, or?
So we have a system where we raise our baby cows. So typically we'd have 4 babies every year, and we breed them intentionally like in August so that they're all born within like a month's time period, because you can't get it perfect. So we keep 1 for our family and 3 we sell. We have a mobile butcher that comes to our property that takes care of that, who is very clean and all that. So we take care of them well. And then, so how do I explain it? So we have the five moms now in Otis who live on the farm, year round. And then we have the new babies that come from the spring, which will be one this spring. And then we have the 2-year-olds, which we call yearlings. And those are the ones that get sold.
Uh-huh.
So it's like a rotation
Yeah.
thing. And then the new babies will be born sometime early to late spring. And then the babies last spring will be, so it's kind of like a thing. So we had no fencing on our property. So we did all the fencing. Well, mostly my husband did most of the fencing. But my plan was to have like an alleyway down the center of the property. So you could run your animals down the middle and turn them out into different pastures for rotation and stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I finished what I was saying, but yeah.
Awesome.
What else? I don't know. Like, we had only a few trees on the property. So our orchard, we did that. We planted, what was it? 300 and I don't even know, 500? 550 trees around the border of our property.
Oh, wow. My granddaughter's asking me if I feel tired. She said, "You look tired." I said, "Yeah, I am tired." Yeah, the cold weather gets to me after a while. But so you stay busy. What's the climate like there where you live?
Tonight, let me check if it's right. It could be off by a degree or two. You know how that works. 36 right now. It's supposed to get down to 24, 25, something like that.
I want to ask you, though, because you haven't mentioned this. You talked about the bees a little bit, but talk about the bees some more and talk about your sewing, because you do. Anne says you sew beautifully, cook, can, and preserve. So you need to talk about that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's weird to talk about myself. Let's see. So the bees, it was just something I wanted to do. And so there was some people that had 100 acres who organically raised their hay that we get our hay from. They hit the man and his wife would go out and they would hand pick weeds out of this 100 acres. No spray. Right. So that was awesome. And I'm still friends with the wife. The guy passed away because he was a lot older. And so they had some old beehive like boxes and frames and things like that they used to do long ago. Right. So they gifted them to me.
Oh, wow.
Because I was interested in someday getting them. And then a local lady started a beekeepers group in my county. So I joined that and I was part of the team of keeping that together for several years. Did some sample tastings and mine won for that. I've done a lot of craft fairs and things like that before the vid, where I would refurbish furniture and things like that and craft.
Wow. Were you nervous about starting up with bees when you started them?
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah. But now you're not, huh?
No, I mean, you learn, that like when you get into like the later part of summer, they get a little bit more aggressive because that's when they're storing their honey and growing their bodies to get bigger to survive over the winter. So the wasps and the yellow jackets and everything's trying to steal all that honey. And so they're more like on alert and stuff like that. So you but like spring through summer, like I can walk by it in a tank top and shorts and like right in front of them and they don't even care. So.
Wow.
So yeah, so I do that and a lot. We were purchasing our bees from people who like sell like the bees. But now I just catch them wild. They come to my
And
orchard.
you never knew how to do any of that stuff when you were younger.
I
so
never
you
seen it.
all-
I never heard of it.
Wow.
Grace of God.
So that, what did he say?
You said the grace of God.
Oh, I mean, it's really neat, Heather. It's really neat. What about your sewing? Did you sew at all when you were younger?
My grandma did alterations for like young military guys, but she never taught me how to sew. I taught myself.
So you just taught yourself? How'd you
Yeah.
teach yourself?
I don't know.
You just get a sewing machine and start sewing?
Yeah.
Did they have YouTube back? I mean, when did they have YouTube when you started sewing? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Well, when I was 18, some family friends of ours gifted me a sewing machine for graduation. And so I didn't really start sewing until I was a young adult, when my kids were little. And then I started doing like quilts and things like that.
Wow. Wow. So you have something, a craft show coming up, don't you?
I do.
And what are you sewing for that?
I am sewing lots of aprons. Lots and
How
lots of
many?
aprons. I'm going to sew, if I have time, about 40. But I've also created, where is it? A harvest apron.
I don't
that
know how you can sew 40 aprons. I'm like, wow.
Well, now it's so nice because I just watch several videos until I find something that I think I like. So.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I
like
used,
that.
this was my husband's jeans
Mm-hmm.
that I used to make the straps that
How
tie
cute.
around the waist. And this was a bunch of fabric some lady was giving away. This was a tablecloth. This.
Can
And
you hold it up over in front of your face so we can see the bottom of it? You know, towards, that is so cute. Look at how cute that is.
And so I put a little loop right in the middle, right there. I don't know how to do it. Right there. And you can cinch it up tighter or make it bigger.
Oh, that's adorable.
And this was another piece of fabric that was in that box of gifted fabric that I used for the inside liner.
Now, just looking at that, looks like it would be perfect for eggs.
Oh yeah, you could do that too. But I have a girlfriend that bought me one of those egg aprons that is a half apron. Yeah, I'm gonna copy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted one of those egg aprons. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one that I haven't used yet that I'm gonna use to make. I actually have it in my sewing tote. And then so I just have several different designs of aprons that I'm making to take the craft fair. And then I have, so it's like a community little craft thing. There's only like 14 of us or something like that. I'll show you some earrings. I don't have the ones that I have put together, but these are faux leather earrings. So like fake leather.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
oh, those are adorable.
leather. Some of them have, trying to find, I have.
Hi, Ariella.
So this is still, this will be an earring. It's a pig.
Oh, how cute.
And a cow. And I cut these out on my Cricut machine.
I was wondering how you cut them.
Horse. And I back them. I double them up so they're thicker. What else do I have? So here's some of the feathers that have a split in the middle.
Yeah, those are cute.
What else? Chickens.
So aprons, 40 aprons, and how many earrings are you taking?
I don't know. I have some necklace sets too that have like leather chains.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that, and then I've got some things that I made with some drawer scents, and they have like ribbons wrapped around them, and they smell like different things that you can put like in your drawers and stuff.
The sachets.
Yeah, kind of like all kinds of stuff. And
She is
that's it.
one talented woman. She just is constantly making things, donates a lot of aprons. Oh, how cute.
Yeah. So these little like makeup bags.
She's constantly making stuff, and so if you haven't checked out her channel, make sure you go over and check out her channel. It's Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. And Heather, I want to thank you so much tonight, because you have, you just shine. You really do. You have that personality that just shines, and you make everybody laugh and happy, and you just will fall in love with her if you're not currently watching.
I was
her.
reading Anne's comment without seeing her name, and she just says, "Oh my goodness, I'm tired just listening to all this," and I'm like, "Oh." And then it was
Hi, Robin Hood. How are you? Hi, Bob.
yeah. So yeah, that's some of the things.
Yeah, so she is one crafty crafter. So make sure you go over and check out her channel. And I want to thank you for coming on. And if you have any questions, leave her a comment right now, and we'll put those up there so that you can get your question asked. You're okay, Ariel.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Hope everything went well.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Well, is there any upcoming collaborations that you're involved in or want to talk about briefly?
I just did Cupid's Creations, which is hosted by Gail Southern Living, Life in the Piedmont Mountain Grandma. They're doing Cupid's Creations, which are, I don't know if I'm saying it right, like cosmetic things and things that you make and bake and stuff like that. So check them out. They're going to have a giveaway too on that. That's all I know about.
Yeah, so be sure to go over to Gail Southern Living and check out that collaboration. She'll have a playlist of all the participants in there, and you can watch all of those. And yeah, so I want to thank you. Our time is up, and I am so thankful. It's always fun when Heather's on, because well, usually we just start cracking up, but
I'm
a little more serious tonight. I'm tired tonight. I'm trying not to be tired. Hi, Kill It and Grill It. Welcome in. We're just getting ready to wrap up, but I want to thank everybody for coming in, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button and go over to her. If you're on my channel, make sure you go over to Heather's channel, Milk and Honey Heritage Farms, and hit the thumbs up button there as well. So, and make sure you subscribe if you're not. Thank you again. And thank you, Heather.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
No joke. I just got a beer. In real life. No joke. I got a beer.
Hey guys, it's Reese here again.
I call those turtles from our pond.
I wasn't going to cry.
And I am toy hunting.
Welcome to my channel.
Plant marigolds next to your squash to keep the squash bugs away.
Here at the Ozark YouTube Scrap